News, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a review of the Gigabyte T1005. This is running the Intel Atom N550 processor and comes with a 250 gigabyte hard drive. This is a unique netbook because it has this netvertible form factor. We're going to get into the form factor in just a sec. I'm just going to give you a quick walk around the system. So you can see it has this giant high capacity a 78,000 watt battery, but apparently I spilled coffee on it. To be honest, the battery life was only 6.5 hours. But an interesting thing is, because of this guy right here, this USB 3 port, turning it off actually extended the battery life up to 6.5 from 5.5 hours. So that was kind of a really interesting little addition. This is the Smart Manager button. I'm going to show you exactly what that does, and there's the audio jacks. Take a quick look around the front, just 2 speakers. The audio does sound pretty good. We'll listen to that shortly. SD card. This is, for a netbook that's meant to be a premium kind of higher end, because it is in the $600 price point. I'm surprised that they cheaped out on the SD card. I mean, it's nice to have it flush directly into the system, and you actually have to pull it out. It's not spring loaded. That's a small detail that I kind of wish they didn't cheap out on. It has eSATA. So if you really need high capacity transfers, there's USB 2.0, that's the power, Ethernet, and then the PSU. I love this, that it has the individual panels, so you can easily upgrade this. You don't need to take out the keyboard or anything, so it's actually a really, really nice system to be able to upgrade if you wanted to throw in an SSD. So to take it out of sleep mode, you can see, I have to do that by flicking that. So you can see this has a really nice chiclet keyboard, really good. If you kind of come in closer, you can see that the flex on the keyboard actually it's not bad. Could be a little less springy, but overall it's not bad. The shift keys, not a bad size. I wish this one was a little bit bigger, but the left shift is full size, so that is quite nice. The trackpad is terrible, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not that used to these separate mouse buttons on the side. I find them a little annoying, but it's touchscreen, so who really cares about the trackpad when you have a giant mouse as your touchscreen? I have installed Chrome with the touch extensions, so I can just scroll up and down on the web pages. One of the nice things about having a touchscreen in this type of form factor is that you just poke the screen. So I could be typing away, and then I just kind of go up and click on stuff. So the range of motion for your actual productivity, it's really different than having to use a mouse pad and clicking. So I've actually really become quite accustomed to this, and then just kind of zooming around. So why don't we get into how the device performs. So let's actually just upgrade this to high quality. Ooh. So there we go, HD YouTube. So you can see it handles HD YouTube no problem. Looks really great. As you can hear, the speakers actually sound pretty good. They don't sound tinny at all, which is pretty nice. So that's kind of a nice little feature there. Now, let's shut this down. And you can hear my phone in the background there. We're just going to let that go. Now let's just give this a whirl. This is going to be a native 720p file. So let's see how it handles that. Let's see. Oh, I need a VLC player that's an MKV. Well, so we're just going to skip that because apparently I put in the wrong type of file. But it does play 720p natively, which is pretty nice. So let's get into the tablet form factor. This is a capacitive touchscreen. I've decided, so here's the virtual keyboard, so the Windows 7 keyboard. So it's actually not too bad. One of the things that I would recommend that Gigabyte do is that when it is in this mode, over here, when I press this Smart Manager button, it brings up this really great little control panel to be able to deal with the volume, Wi-Fi, turning my USB 3 on and off, because like I mentioned, it went from 5.5 hours with USB 3 on to 6.5 hours with USB 3 off. So that's something that I had never really considered before. Here's the performance, so you can actually select it there. This is whether or not you can charge your phones. So like when you plug in anything to the USB ports over here, actually over here, the USB 2 port over here, you can select whether or not the smart charge is on. If the battery's at 50%, it'll shut it off, 40%, it'll shut it off, or if you just want it off completely. Gigabyte's really taken the time to, create this little smart manager, which I think is a nice little premium feature. But what I would like is that there should be a virtual keyboard. I mean, it almost doesn't even make sense to me that they would go through all the trouble of creating this really sleek smart manager, and then they stick us with a really terrible keyboard. Like, it's just, like the Windows 7 keyboard sucks. So the fact that this is a really premium netbook, and that they don't have their own custom keyboard that has, www and .com, it's kind of a shame, but Gigabyte could easily issue that upgrade, so that would be nice, Gigabyte, if you guys could do that. So for a price point of $600, would I recommend this? Yes, because I feel that the hinge technology has improved from the the 1028. Actually, we can take a quick look at that right now. So if you look at Gigabyte's old hinge, right, it's separate. It's not really a part of the system. It feels a bit cheap. The plastic doesn't feel great. If you kind of look at it, it kind of feels like the same kind of hinge. But taking a look at this one, it doesn't feel as poncy. It doesn't feel like when I touch the back, it feels like more a part of the entire back of the unit. So Gigabyte has tested this for 15,000 turns, or 50, I can't exactly remember the number, but it's some ridiculous number. So apparently they have improved the hinge technology, and so far from my using it, I have seen an improvement. So they haven't changed the chassis much between these two models, but they have taken the time to really improve the keyboard, and I would like to see an improvement on the accuracy of the capacitive touch. Gigabyte on this model, they were actually really good about issuing updates in order to create a more refined touch experience. So for $600, if you do need, a higher end netbook for going around, because you definitely need, this form factor, but you also need the productivity, I'd recommend it. So this is Nicole Scott for Netbook News, taking a look at the Gigabyte T1005.